let's try to say, we have this comment count. Now, there's a bunch of stuff we could do. We could, like, theoretically keep an array of comments and, like, query that sub-collection every time, count all the documents, and see. But that's still, like, if I'm going to get all of them, right, what if this is a really, like, contentious thread, and so now I've got to query for, like, 1,000 comments every time? It would be a lot better. Like, that's 1,000 comments every time we just want to get this number. It would be a lot better to just, like, as comments happen, increment and decrement that count, right? This function is going to have some flaws because it's going to now respond to new comments and it's going to increment and decrement that count, right? Which means that anything that currently has comments, it's going to be off. So what could you do? Well, you could have a cloud function that goes ahead and, like, retabulates them all. You can also have a script that on deploys or whatever runs the node script with the Firebase admin tool, right? Like, you can also, like, retabulate some of this stuff. Like, one of the nice things about a NoSQL database is kind of like you get to play a little bit more with the eventual consistency. Is the number of comments being super accurate? Especially at a large number, really important. Like, you start rounding to, like, 1.4K, and all of a sudden you can get away with being a little off, right? And that's, like, one of the things that makes NoSQL scale sometimes, is we go ahead and do stuff like that. So where I think this one is really kind of interesting is because it will involve every time a new document goes into the comments collection for a post, we'll then have to go, last time we basically said, hey, for this document, we want to change it. This time we have to say, every time we put a new document in, we're going to have to go to this other place and change that document. So it's a little bit of a twist on our last trick. So we'll go ahead and we'll say exports dot increment comment count, seems good. Functions dot firestore dot document. In this case, we're going to listen for posts, any post ID, not a given particular one. Comments, comment ID. So, like, a new like any change to a comment document, we really only care about on create this time. Like, we don't want to increment the count if they update one. One would argue we don't have the ability to delete comments right now. One would argue we should probably also have a decrement one on deletes. But considering we don't have the ability, like, once you comment now, it's set in stone until I go into the admin dashboard and take it away. So we're not going to worry about that just yet. We'll say async, and then for create we get a snapshot. There's no before and the after because there is no before, right? Cool. So we'll have the snapshot, and if I want to get, I can get any of these. There's also a second argument called the context. I have two ways to get that post ID. I could navigate up the references, up the parents. Like, remember I used child in the storage one before? I can parent my way up as well. Or with context, just like in React Router, there is a params object, which will be each of those dynamic segments in there. So we'll say post ID. Context.params. And we'll say the post ref is firestore.doc. Post ID. And we'll get its comments count. We need to know what its current count is, so we need to go ask it. So we'll say const comments equals await. Did I make that async function? Yeah, I did. Cool. We'll say await post ref. Data will get everything, but if I only need one property, I can use get comments, and we'll return, because we always have to return a promise. I know that I'm not, like, returning this value, but this will let the function know when it's over. We'll say post ref dot update comments equals comments plus 1. So whenever a new comment document is added to the sub-collection of a post, go find the default 0 in there, get whatever its current count is, return a operation to increment it by 1. And away we go. Some other ones I'll kind of leave as an exercise to the reader, like we can listen to auth changes, right? So auth has a on create. Well, when would that happen? That would happen on the sign in with email and password, right? With sign in, email, and password, or when we create the Google auth one, that will go ahead and trigger an auth.onCreate event. What could we do there? Oh, we could create that user doc, right? So we don't have to do it client side anymore. We don't have to like trust that that code runs and stuff like that. We can start taking out some of the stuff that we did on the front end because we didn't know Cloud Functions yet. And we can start taking the back. Now there could be a delay, and we need to code defensively for that document not being there yet and stuff like that. That is part of just like, yeah, we have this like real-time push-based database that automatically updates and sends stuff, but like that means that like it's not like again with like Active Record or something where the database completes this entire operation. We have all the data before we make an HTML page. Like we do need to code a little bit differently and a little more defensively. We saw some of that today, but it does allow us to do really cool things and push, like we can write a lot of back-end heavy stuff in Firebase and something that like abstracts away a lot of the back end in a way that I think is really cool. And a lot of this has come a long way. The first time we did this course, Cloud Functions were released the night before we did it. So, and that was, I think, 18 months ago. So, like, a lot of this is still, like, 18 months is a long time in tech, but, still a lot of this is very new and getting increasingly more powerful, too. So I would also, like, encourage you to, like, watch this space as well. And this definitely seems, amongst a lot of the cloud providers, to be something of an arms race. All right. So let's go ahead. I'm going to make a brand new one that I know has 0. Now this one might not be warmed up yet. We'll find out. We have that comment. It is one of those things where if it doesn't work, I will have to check the logs and see where the boo-boo was made. Kind of works. The debugging Cloud Functions it's great. It really makes you feel good about life. Let's take a look. The one thing I'm going to do is, this is kind of one of the reasons I gave myself the Firebase on the window object, is so I could like kind of, it's just going to add 1 to an object. We can keep commenting. It's just going to keep adding 1 to an object. It's probably the way that I'm fetching it. Let's take a look. So we can say Firebase dot Firestore grab that up there. Oh, now it's the string. That's great.
The function is somehow setting a string with an object, setting an object.
Yep. The big question is, where is it doing it? Let's take a look at the code. All right, I know what's happening. Comments is, this is actually the snapshot, literally the code I was typing. We actually want this, and we'll say try that out. I was calling it on the reference, which was trying to get a document called comments, which was an object, and then I was adding it +1 to the actual reference, which was setting it to an object. Fun times. All right, let's deploy that. I'm going to create myself a fresh one because I've ruined this. All right, nobody comment on it until my function deploys. But y'all are here, so it keeps me honest. All right. Now, I'm not convinced that wasn't the old function. This is what you all tune in for, right? There it sounds. That feels like a cold start to me. Yeah! Woo! And now it's warmed up and working. Right, so yeah, it does involve, here's the thing about the cloud, stuff isn't instant. We are deploying stuff to servers around the world. Takes a while. See also the course we did on doing CDNs on CloudFront. Involved a lot of patience and me saying the word propagating a lot.